Oh, I've lost you all.
That's the introduction.
You've
It's
all
okay.
you've all gone.
And good afternoon, everyone. I'm sorry I had my glasses on and I took the glasses right in time. I think so. So I don't know if it's going to be in camera or not. But thank you very much and welcome once again here to La Tertulia Question. We have a very interesting show today. We have the greatest of the greatest of the greatest champions in our sport, Mr. Nick Skelton, who is with us from Great Britain. And we have to excuse Santiago Varela. He cannot be able to join us. He's in a working meeting, and sadly, he's not going to be able to make it happen. But we do have Leopoldo Palacios. We're going to have him in screen in just a minute. Hello, Leopoldo. You're back in Wellington. Good to see you. How are you? We have Carolo López Quesada from Caballarion.com. Hello, Carolo, Madrid. Everything is good. And thank you, Ecuestre Digital, once again for all your support for with all this technology behind the scenes. And Mariela Godoy and Estefania Godoy for the translation, so everyone can have the pleasure and the access to the Spanish subtitles when we do the interviews in English. So, Nick, you are now in camera. I call you the greatest of champions. You are amazing. You have a long history in our sport. You have what? Let me see here. European Championships, 3 golds, 3 silvers, and 3 bronzes. In 1980, you also had a silver in the alternative Olympics. In 2012, already at the age of 54, and I mentioned your age because I'm going to talk about your record that you have. You won the Olympics gold medal as part of the winning team. And in 2016, at the age of 58, you won the individual gold medal at the 17th Olympic Games in Rio. And that broke a record, and you are the oldest gold medal winner since 1908 in the British athletes. So, Nick, what a history, what a champion. How are you today?
Very good, thank you. Yeah, that brings back a lot of memories. Um, it was a good job that I got it then because I think now I would be definitely too old.
But now that I'm going to mention about this, I was reading a little bit about you to come with different facts, and I came across one that actually, well, a couple that are very interested. So, a rail operator, London Midland, honored you with a gold painted sign at a railway station. You also were nominated in 2016 as the BBC Sports Personality of the Year. And then you were appointed commander of the Order of the British Empire. So a lot going on. So it's not just a gold medal. You became a personality. I mean, so what is all this? Can you take us a little bit about what happened post gold medals?
Well, after London Olympics, the British have that has honoured all the gold medalists by painting their postbox in their local town gold instead of red. So everybody that won a gold medal got a gold postbox. But where I live in Ulster, they painted the postbox gold. But then where I was born in Bedworth, they wanted a gold postbox as well, and they couldn't get it. But what they did was they made a sign on the railway station in gold, commemorating the Olympics in London. And so I have one on the railway station where I was born, and then one in the town where I live. So I was lucky; I got two. And then the after London, I got a OBE, which is the Order of the British Empire, and then after Rio, I got the CBE, which is another next up, which is a commander of the Order of the British Empire from the Queen. So I was honoured with two of those awards, which is very, really amazing, really, to get those. And it was an honour to get that for your country.
Well, congratulations. What an honor. And congratulations again. Okay, Leopoldo, now going a little bit into a question subjects. Go ahead. No, you're in mute.
Leo.
You're in mute, Leo.
Always
Leo,
the
you're in
same.
mute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, now it's okay.
Yeah.
Nick, I have a question for you that I make to many riders, and it's always interesting. In your career, how you start to be involved in horses, and who was the persons to teach you at the beginning, and how you develop your sport? But it's important to the new people to come to the sport to understand this, and they can follow a little bit the same pattern or something like this, that being a real star of the sport as you.
Well, I started when I was very young. My parents bought me a pony when I was 3 years old, and I liked being outside. I liked the horses, the ponies, and then obviously as I got older, 4 or 5 years old, I went to small shows, competed on a lead rein, and then I rode off the lead rein. But I never had a riding lesson in my life to teach me to ride. I just worked it out. Figured it out. I never went to a riding, school or got a teacher or a trainer or anything until when I was 15. After I'd ridden the ponies, I went to work for Ted and Liz Edgar, and that was really the first person that I worked for, and I was there for 12 years and learnt the job. But I think I did it by just I used to fall off a lot, get back on, watch. I used to go to shows, watch David Broom, Harvey Smith, try to copy them. But I just really loved the riding, loved being outside, and I just sort of figured it out. And I was lucky enough then when I went to the Edgars that I went on, and he was a good trainer for me, helped me with the riding a lot, gave me some good horses to ride, and I think I was quite just a natural person to ride. I figured it out, worked it out mathematically or whatever it was, and I had some good results.
Nick. Leo, mute.
I've never seen Leo.
Give me a chance. Nick, to that means that you are a little bit you learning by yourself and copy another riders, and being with good riders around them, and they helping you. But today I see you really start in a natural way to be with horses. Today is a little bit artificial. You don't think this helping you at the beginning, that you have that pony and doing it yourself, and go around and start to have a really good relation with horses, and this make you really a horseman as you are today?
Well, I think back in those days we couldn't afford to have, to go and pay for lessons or training. We didn't have, we didn't have that money, so I just, I used to go to the show, like I said, and I'd sit in the collecting ring. I wouldn't watch in the ring. I'd just watch the warm up and see how those riders rode, like David, Harvey, Caroline Bradley, Alvin Schockermuller, Nelson Pessoa. When they came to the shows in England, like the Horse of the Year show, I'd go there and watch them and see what they did, and I'd go home and then pretend that I was them and trying to do different things and copy their style, if you like. And that's how I really got going when I was on the ponies. But I think I was lucky in one way that I had a good eye, that I could see the distance, and had good hands and had the feeling. So I was blessed with those things right from the start, and I think that's very, very difficult to teach. I don't think you can teach somebody to have feeling. They've either got it or they haven't. Natural feeling, and I think a lot of the best riders, like Rodrigo, Marcus Henning, Ludger Beerbaum, all those great riders they've all got great feeling. You don't see many riders that actually go and be champions that haven't got any feeling, I think.
Oh, Nick, For me, you have been the best Grand Prix rider I have ever seen. For me, I think
Thank
you
you.
have found the. Thank you very much. I have found the perfect horses for you, and I believe that it has been one of your great virtues. I think your secret about this matter.
Sorry, say that again.
You know the secret about you for looking for your good horses. You know you have been with a lot of good horses. Perfect for you, I think.
Yeah, I think the horses that I had suited my way of riding, and I tried to adapt. I mean, not all of them. Like Apollo was really not in the mold of my other horses, but I tried to adapt myself to ride that horse the way I like to go. And I think a lot of it is down to the different horses and what they need. And also, I think for the Grand Prix, I always got more excited uh, when it was the big day, and that sort of motivated me. Always motivated me on a Sunday because it was the biggest prize and the one that everybody to win. So I'd probably spend a couple of days not winning a lot, and then coming out and giving it all what I got to win the and I was lucky enough to have some great horses along the way.
I have a question, and this is more about a comparison between the Americas and Europe. And you have the opportunity to jump many times in both locations. And I've across a comment in the past year or so. Actually, several people have commented that when they jump in Europe, they feel that the time allowed is actually softer than what it's here in the America. I'm talking in big events. Besides the time allowed, I don't know if you agree or not agree with that comment, but besides the time allowed, what would you consider is the main differences between competing in America, United States, Canada, or in Europe?
Well, you've got the master of time faults over there sitting on the left of my screen. I mean, any old fool can build a big course and put a tight time on. I mean, anybody can do that. That's what he used to do. He used to build a big course and put a tight time that nobody could get around in. So that becomes a thing to do. So everybody started putting the times tight because Leopoldo did it. He started all these time faults off, getting everybody in a hurry, making the horses make faults. That is the problem. If he hadn't come along, we wouldn't have had any problem with these time faults.
And will you
No,
feel,
but honestly,
besides the time fault, what is there anything else?
no, seriously, no, the time allowed now is become a big factor because I think now there's so many good horses and good riders competing every week that whatever course wise you have, if you have 50 in the Grand Prix, you've probably got 40 that can win it. And the fences now, and to actually master the course at speed is a difficult thing. So now the times are always very tight, and puts riders under pressure when the time's tight, and also puts the horses under pressure because you get a lot of horses that probably can't, move that quick or jump that quick. There's natural. You're then making that horse do something that it's not really capable of, and that forces it into having fences down. So I think that's crept in over the last 15 years, the time allowed, but now it is getting ridiculous really. But I completely understand because they can't build the fences any bigger, so they have to put the tight time on it. But I would like to see a lot of these courses you go to nowadays. It's all poles, little gates, little walls, light fences, short poles. There's a lot of things that course build designers could do now to make it a little bit more interesting rather than just poles.
Yeah, that specific issue has been discussed several times, but I don't know if it's going anywhere. So, Leopoldo, do you think there is a motion after all these sessions that we have here? There is a request of the riders of having more variety of jumps and asking different questions to the horses than just poles and gates. Have you had any meetings or talks with other course designers to see what is the plan for the future?
The first thing is I want to say today I start to be not the shorter time allowed core designers. And the core designers today they make it shorter than me, Nick. I start with this, but now I am famous being short. But I see the others, and some are more strong with the time allowed than myself. But this is a joke; it's not a problem. But
I, I,
the reality is, I think sport need to change a lot. But the sport today only go to poles and a salad of poles. Don't use different fences. Don't use priority that the sport need. And many core designers thinking like me. It's not only myself. But the problem is today we arrive to many shows and we don't find material to do it. I have the lucky to working in very big shows, and I have a lot of materials, and I try to use it, and I use it a lot. But the others, and when I build in another shows, sometimes I don't have a wall. What I think is and the record designers we talking to the organizers and everything, but I think the FBI need to make a what kind of suggestion or rule or I don't know what to give it more chance to the core designers to have more variety of fences in the shows. But this is one of my opinion. Today it's a salad of both.
and
I don't know what you're
also,
thinking.
also, I think today with the courses, it's I think I'm probably going to get shot down for this, but I, I don't think there's as much skill involved as a rider these days because you jump number one, and then all you got to do is count 5 strides, 6 strides, 7 strides, 4 strides. Everything's on a related. You only got to see one distance, and that's to the first fence, and the rest all you have to do is count. Whereas, going back a few years, there'd be long distances between the fence where you'd have to see, find your own distance, and tight turns back to jumps. Whereas now everything, when they jump now, it's always the jump off. So when you land, the next fence is always behind you. There's no going past the jump to turn back to a double of oxes, and then there's always a race to the last fence. That seems to be the fashion, which has been the fashion for the last 10 to 12 years, to be really honest. So I don't know how that could change, and but then like I say, you've got a lot of very good horses that can do all these things.
Bueno,
I
I
don't
think
know.
that there could be a change now with the back boots not going to be able to the pressure boots to be able to be used next year. And Santiago and Leopoldo and several riders that have been here said that there could be a difference in the designing of the courses. So basically, that could be a change that we can follow up and see if we can put some more variety of jumps and some designs or distances that can ask different questions to the horse and not just to be delicate. Huh, Leopoldo?
Yeah, with these back boots, I don't think it's a good idea that they ban these boots. To be honest, because used in a correct, or they should specify one sort of boot that's only, but to say no boots. I mean, what then? How are the people going to train their horses at home? Who knows what they're going to do? Come to a show. You have no control over the riders at home, and that is not a good thing, in my opinion.
Okay.
The
So
boots
what
should
you're
be
saying
out.
is that there could be a risk of banning the boots, that there is going to be more of, let's say, call it action back and home when they come to the show than just having the boots be used in the correct way.
For sure. I mean, you can't. Not everybody is holier than thou. I mean, maybe some people train their horses much different than other people. So, what are they going to do? How are they train them at home before they leave to come to the show? I don't think the FEI thought of that. I would have allowed
Yeah,
a
that's
boot, one boot, which is everybody agrees with, but to say no boots, I don't think the FEI really thought it through.
Okay. Yeah, that decision because they
I
called
have a
they
question.
called the. Go
Cesar,
ahead, Leopoldo. Go ahead. No, go
I
ahead.
have a question. I have a question, Cesar, to you. But you are a steward and you are very involved in this. The 100% of the boots will be prohibited, or certain kind of boot can be used, and the what is the real? How we going to use this rule?
No.
Well, I
Not
think
all the boots are banned. All the boots, I mean, you can use back boots. The only thing is the one that you have pressure on the horse. So it needs to go side to side. So it could be elastic or it could be Velcro. Okay. And there's different sizes that you can use. But basically, you cannot be a pull out boot where you go through a buckle and then you pull and then you put the pressure. Those boots are banned.
yes, but they can still. I mean, they can still put the boots on. I've watched them at the shows when they put the boots on. They still, give a good pull on it, whether they've got a loop through it or not. I mean, why can't boots just be put on normal catch? Put them on. I mean, why do you have to have all this pressure on it? I mean, Carlo, Arco, I jumped them with back boots all their life, even from when they were young horses from 5 years old. They always had the same boots on. They never had any different boots on to go to the show. I didn't put them on before they went in the ring. I put them on when they left the stable, and they had the same ones on all their life, and they never put them on tight. I mean, I think the back boots are a good thing in a way if to teach the horse to use their back end, but they shouldn't be put on tight. And then why do you have a boot check before you go in the ring, and then you have a boot check when you come out? I mean, what can you do between getting on the horse and getting off it? Why have we got two boot checks?
Well,
What are
they're
we?
different checks. They're different checks. The first check is to have the correct position. We don't inspect what's inside the boot if there is anything inside the boot. That when you come out, that's when you inspect in detail if the boot has something that is not allowed in the competition, and then you check out other things on the horse, like the spurs or the bits or the whatever. But that is so. The first check is just a hand boot check that it's in the correct position and not tight enough. That's what the FEI wants the stewards to do before you go into the ring.
Yeah, but why don't they do it all before you go in the ring and check if there's anything in the boot? I mean, what are you going to do when you've got off the horse, check your boots, got on, two jumps, and in the ring? What are you going to do between the takeoff of the boots and putting back on the boots? I mean, why do you do this? Why don't they check the bit, the spurs? And that's another thing, the spurs, checking for marks on the horse. If you're in that ring and you're into battle and you accidentally use your spur and you get a little, I mean, there's so many minute little things in the ring that happens, and you come out and you have a little bit of a cut on the horse's side, you're eliminated. Now, why
Correct.
don't they do like in motor racing? Watches the screen. Did that if that horse stopped in the ring and the rider took his legs off and kicked the hell out of it and he made him bleed, then he should be eliminated. But if he's actually jumping the course and he's done nothing wrong at all and he's accidentally rubbed him and it's not bleeding, it's a rub, and then you're eliminated. What happens if I'd have caught Big Star on that turn back to the last vertical? I was going to run by it. So what did I do? Use my leg. But if I'd have had blood on the side, I'd have lost a gold medal. Now, would that be very good? Not really. Again, they should have somebody, a good judge, that's judging it properly, and a horseman, and seeing how these riders are. I mean, they're so well looked after, these horses. I mean, they're not cruel to them. I just don't understand how these riders just out for reason at all. Oh, blood out. What happens if the horse bit its tongue in the ring? Blood out. It's crazy.
No, I know, and we had several discussions with this, Nick, and you know it better than anyone. It's been discussed in the FEI and with the riders and the riders group. I mean, for many years, and actually, it was only disqualified if you had any blood. Now, at least, you have the chance only to be eliminated and disqualified if it's considered abuse. Okay, if not, it's eliminated. I know it's a big deal. I agree with you, and we have discussed this that it needs to be more of subjective, and the judge or the steward, they need to be a judge. So they need to have that horsemanship and that experience. But the rules now, as they are written, are black and white. So if there is blood, That's a decision. If it's not, what we said here is that we need to discuss it even a little bit more. I mean, what is it really? What is the spectrum? What is the rule for? What are we trying to protect? Because we know that we're in the sport that there's a lot of things that can be done to a horse, which is more abuse than actually that little scratch on the side. We know that. But one is the image of the sport, and the other thing is what really happening in the sport. So I think that's are the things that we need to discuss. And you, as a rider, as a coach, and being an ambassador of the sport, I think that needs to go through the FEI and be discussed again. I agree with you.
I mean, you see some horses ridden at shows in a ring, ridden really badly. I mean, to me, that's abuse. Why don't the judges stop them halfway around when they've missed 3 or 4 and crashing the horse in the fence and keep going? Why don't the judges ring the bell and kick them out? That's abuse. Bad riding.
Exactly. Or dangerous riding. Actually, that exists in eventing. In eventing, if you're in the cross country and you're doing something that is you're not controlling the horse, you can actually be stopped and you actually get a yellow card for dangerous riding. And I know, I mean, I've never had the chance to see someone doing that bad in my rings, but I've seen videos, and there is a big video that went viral. I mean, that the guy actually missed every jump. So
Those cards, yellow cards, red cards, you might as well stick them where the sun shines because they don't do any good anyway. Oh, I'll give you a yellow card. But then so what? What do you do with it? Huh?
well,
I mean,
if you get a second one,
fine.
if you get a second yellow card in 1 year, you're suspended from the sport.
Second one in 1 year. But they'd be better off
Yeah.
fine, like they do in racing.
But some people, but you know what, Nick? For some people, they better have the money and they pay for that fine. It's not as severe as maybe having a yellow card and you already have a warning. If you make a second offense, whatever it is that deserves a second yellow card, you're immediately suspended. And the minimum suspension is 2 months.
Yeah, but if you do something there and then, maybe there should be a quick decision and say, right, you don't ride for the rest of the show, you don't ride for a week. You have a week ban or a 2 week, whatever
Yes,
however severe the consequences
Yeah.
are, like they do in racing. If you're dangerous riding, you're set down for 14 days or 21 days or whatever. But going back to the shows with the bad riding, I mean, the riders you see in the Grand Prix that shouldn't be in that Grand Prix capable of riding a 5-star Grand Prix. And there should
Well,
be
that's
there should be a rule where certificate of capability. You should have to have ridden clear rounds in 3 series or 4-star Grand Prix until then you're allowed to 5-star Grand Prix.
Well,
It's no
and this comes to another issue that we have discussed here. What the only factor that defines a 5-star Grand Prix is the prize money. There's not other factors right now. So basically, that brings one of the problems is that everyone has access to a 5-star Grand Prix when maybe you are not even capable. So that's actually one of the questions that I had for you. It's about bringing another level of Grand Prix and only be selected by those top riders who deserve to be in the top sport.
Well, that's true, but you can't go and drive Formula One. I'm going to get a car. I'm going to drive Formula One because I want to. You'd have to start in the go-karts and then you go Formula 3, Formula 2, and when you win that and you're good enough, then you go Formula 1. I mean, that's what it should be like in show jumping because you see a lot of riders in shows. It's dangerous, but they want to go because it's
And
5-star.
I agree with you. Go ahead.
Myself, I prefer to win 2 stars, 3 stars, than go and get slaughtered in a 4-star or a 5-star. When I'm good enough to win the 2-star and 3-star, then I'll go and have a go at the 4-star. But people don't think like that.
And I completely agree with you. I had a chance to do an interview years ago with Horse Support International, and instead of using the comparison with the Formula One I use the golf, which actually you need a card to be able to play at the PGA level, and you win that card by different tours that bring you up there. The problem is our sport is with the organizers, that is how I see it, or different tours where you have access to all those shows because you are buying a table. So basically, you have an invitation system, which is by ranking, which selects all those riders are automatically invited to that show. But then you have a percentage that just because they are sponsors or they do whatever it takes to do, they have access to these same shows. And if they do well one day, they already have ranking. So they automatically are in the system already. So you have people writing 12, 15, 18 shows a year that are 5-star, given the most ranking points in our sport, that actually do not have the level, but they're there because they're sponsoring the event. So what would you say about that?
Well, I mean, the thing is today I can understand a lot of these shows that, to get sponsorships is difficult in this climate. And so if they want to run shows, I suppose they've got to think where they're getting the money from to make it pay, or to at least put the show on. I mean, you can't just keep forking out money to put shows on and not making any, or not a profit, but even breaking even. So I can understand why they want people paying for tables, so it helps towards the expenses and to put the show on. I understand that. It's a difficult situation, but maybe would they be better, those people that their daughters or their sons want to go to the show? I think, would they not be better in the bit level and still put the money towards the show and not go in the Grand Prix, or at least try and have a capability, a certificate that they are allowed to ride in there. I know it's difficult, but it should try to be somewhere. I think it's there's a lot of shows that we can't go to because we're not in the top 30 in the world, and you're getting taken. You can't go because somebody's bought a table.
Yeah,
That's the
and
problem.
it's a reality.
Yeah, it is a reality. Yeah, I mean, it never happened in my day. There was never any buy a table. But that seems to be the way
Exactly.
nowadays.
Leo, you are
I
in mute,
think
Leo.
I think now I am okay.
You're good.
I am okay or
Yep.
not? Okay.
Yeah, we
Nick,
can hear.
uh, I think the problem coming from we start changing the shows and doing everything more and more safe. And this is good, to being safe and safe and safe. But in your time, you don't go in the Grand Prix, but you don't jump the Grand Prix if you are not able to do it. You have a problem and you're going out. That was the the reality. And the people don't go in the shows, but they don't finish the courses. Today, the courses are the light poles. Everybody go, everybody finish. No big spreads, no anything difficult, and everybody complain when it's difficult, when it's a little bit dangerous or a little bit spooky, and this coming the sport and put the sport in this position. This is my opinion. The sport need to come back to have a little bit or more difficult situations in the Grand Prix and only good rider can solve. But today, for the amateur rider, they go, they don't looking good, and they doing with 12 or 15 faults or 12, and they finish, no problem. This is, or they need to give it a license. I always say in this program that what the riders need is to have a license. If you're winning, as you say, I totally agree with you. Certificate of capability. But it's very difficult to do every week certificate of capability. You need to have a license to go to the big shows. And today, with the type of ranking that we have, that the riders take points in 145 classes, and they can go and show in the 160 classes, is not correct. I think if you want to show in 160 classes, you need to have ranking points in 160, not in
Yeah, I
145.
agree.
And
No, I agree.
this is the way. I think if we have several problems. We have the ranking is one of the main problems. I think it's not correct, the ranking. I think the ranking need to be more for couples. But when you was sometimes, you was,
Combination,
in
you
my
mean?
opinion, sometimes the best couple of the world. When you have Arco and these
Combination,
horses. Best
combination.
combination. Okay, combination. Rider and horse. And now
Yeah.
the rider number 2 in the combination is the 54 in the ranking. I think it's something that is not correct. But the combination is the reality, the horses to jumping 160 and the riders to jumping 160. And I think the sport need to make a full change. And it's very difficult, but need to do a change to protect. What do you think about it?
Well, I think you're right. What you say that it's the combination really is, or a license is still like a capability. I mean, if you only counted so many shows per year and counted the Grand Prix with a rider horse rider combination, and that's a bad thing. But they have to. I think they have to look at, like you say, getting a license or a certificate or something to sort to help the lesser riders not get into such a mess when they go in the big classes. I mean, I don't understand why they want to do those classes. I never would have done that myself. I'd always think, well, there's always a good saying, you should keep yourself in the best company and your horses in the worst. And then
Mm-hmm.
you understand. That was always the thing I got told. Keep yourself in the best company and your horses in the worst company. And then you'd win a lot more. And there's something in that,
Mm-hmm.
really.
Now, going a little bit now, changing a little bit the subject. So, with all your experience, all your wins, being part of the team, have you ever considered in the future being chef de keep?
Mm. No, not really. Um, uh, no, 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 I haven't. No, because I think I don't know. It's just a thing that I've never really thought about being chef to keep. I did once apply for one country, and that's the only time I ever went to do that, and I didn't get it. So I thought, well, it's not the idea. I won't bother.
All right. So, but we will make it work if that happens. I know you could be one of the best chefs they keep with all your experience and all the situations you have dealt with. I'm sure you're a great chef. So let's see what happens in the near future. I'm curious about that.
Well, we'll see.
Leo.
You always, and I know you for many years, and we have a lot of discussion and a lot of very nice conversations. And I consider you one of the person that I really respect in the sport. And you are a fighter for the sport. And why you don't try, if you are a fighter for the sport, being involved a little bit, being a leader of the sport and being involved in the federations and these things where you really can do changes. But today, to make changes in the sport and to help in the sport working, we need leaders in the sport with the knowledge. And many riders of your age that don't ride there too much and everything don't go and being involved to being leaders in the sport, to being in the International Equestrian Federation or in the National Federation and have a position of a political part to you can't help in the sport. You never thinking in doing something like this?
No, not really. It's a lot of time consuming, and you have to go and talk to these people. And half the time, the people are not really for the sport itself. They don't come from the horse background, and first of all, I think these are too big, huge committees. I think to run a business or whatever. Why do you need a huge committee when 6 or 7 people could run the sport, professional people that know what they're talking about? So for me to go and sit there for hours on end discussing this and discussing that with 30 or 40 other people doesn't really appeal to me.
That's interesting.
So,
I don't know, Leopoldo. You are more involved in the FEI.
one thing
No, I
that
agree with Nick. This is my opinion. I've been in the FBI for a long time, and I did it for 8 years inside and never coming back again. For many years, I am out, and I consider that Nick have part of reason. But if the people with the knowledge of the sport don't come into fill that positions, we have this problem of big committees and things and problems that we don't resolve the real problems of the sport. I think we need in the part of the leaders of the sport people with the knowledge of the sport. And I say we have very good people today, but we don't have enough. And we have different visions of the sport. We have too many politicals in the sport, but not too many riders to being involved in being leaders of the sport, or core designers to being leaders of the sport. I did it, and I'm fighting a lot for this, and I try to help all I can do in that time. But I think we need more people like this, and I think people like Nick or Ludger or Busy Madden or to try to stop riding and doing more. I think it's interesting if they come in and being inside and know the monster inside and try to correct the monster. But if we don't correct the Nick and we say, no, this don't work, we will live in like this all the life.
I agree. I mean, the best people to run our sport, the people that do it, people that ride, they would be the best people to run the sport. There's old retired riders, or that did the sport and understand it and know what rules we should have and what we shouldn't have. There's too much politics, and for me, it's too much politics. I don't understand it all. You get. I mean, John Madden was in the FEI for a few years. He knows the job inside out. What did he do? He left. Keane O'Connor was the riders representing the FEI. He was there for 9 months or a year. He left. So why is that then? Because they probably can't get things done that they want to get done.
Or maybe there's other factors out there that not just sport that actually affects the complete development, because that's the thing. It's a worldwide sport. But anyway, let's go a little bit more into sport. There's also, this is a question that everyone loves asking experienced riders like you. When you are going to see a horse that it takes your attention, what are those skills that that horse shows you that it just makes it, okay, this is a good horse? It could be a young horse, an older horse, but what are the characteristics that you find in a horse in order to be successful in our sport?
Well, I think there's first of all, I mean, they have to have good character. They have to be careful. Their rideability, especially nowadays, their rideability needs to be really good, because with the courses now, they have to be very rideable. You can't get away with a horse that's probably hasn't got a good mouth or good canter, or they have to be very adaptable, and obviously carefulness, braveness, intelligent, good looking. There's a lot of things that attributes that a horse needs these days. And the
Interesting.
one that always springs to mind is Big Star, because I think he had everything. He had intelligence, scope. He was careful, very rideable, brave. He was the one horse that I've had in my lifetime that's had all those things.
So when you go and look for new horses, you try to make them as similar as possible to Big Star.
Yeah, but then I would never buy another one. I'm gonna find one like. But you do. That's what you do. You go look, Brian, and try to find another one.
So So now that we talk about Big Star, this brings me back to 2016 Rio. I was there, so I had the pleasure to see you. And I was in the warm up actually, and I was asking myself, what is going through Nick's mind right now? He's the first in the jump off. There's a six combination jump off. Here's his chance for his gold medal. And now I have the opportunity to ask you, what came off through your mind? How did you process that pressure? Take us back to that time.
Well, I think the first thought was oh, there's quite a clear round. I mean, 6 clear rounds is quite a lot for an Olympic Games. I mean, 3 would be ideal because then everybody gets a medal. But I was happy to go first because whenever I rode in the Nations Cups, I always went first. So I was happy to go in that position, and also it was quick. And for me, I thought the one thing I must do is jump clear. That is the most important thing. And he's a fast horse anyway, and also with him, he always looks like he's going faster than exactly what he is because he has a lot of action and his legs are going everywhere. So people think he's actually going faster than what he is. So he probably looked faster. And but anyway, I was clear. I thought I was quite fast, but I didn't. When I came out, I didn't think I'd be fast enough. But I obviously put a pressure on the other ones, and I think it worked out. I think it was meant to be. In the end, when you look back, I think it was meant to be. And I thought when Peter Fredriksson, when he didn't get me, I thought, well, then I have a good chance. But then, I mean, Eric was actually quicker than me, but he was last to go and had a fence down. And like I say, I just think it was meant to be. I waited my time, and I had time, and it happened.
Well, what a great achievement. So congratulations again. Leopoldo.
Thank you. Lost his mic on.
Yeah, you're in mute, Leo.
You have a lot of you have a lot of good horses, and Arco was a super horse too, in my opinion. Do you think 5 Star was way better than Arco, or Arco was similar, or what do you think?
It's very hard to judge, who was the best, or because Arco was a very very good horse. But I think Big Star he probably just had that little bit more ability, probably a little bit easier to ride. But they're great horses, and I wouldn't. It's difficult to pick one, but I'd always go for Big Star for what he was, and he was the one that came at the end. And like I said, he was the horse that had everything.
And I have another question. I never asking you, and I have this opportunity. When you jump in Athens and you jump the triple bar, the option of the triple bar, remember, and you jumping in the middle, you jump the standard. This is the biggest fence I see a horse jumping in my life. When you did this with Arco, what was your feeling when you go to the middle, and why you jumping in the middle, and what happened there?
Well, the first thing I thought was shit. I wasn't meant to be there at that point. He actually, when he saw it was three sort of triple bars with a bar on the back, and I went for the middle, and he actually ran out. I think he didn't know what he was looking at, and I think it scared him, and he ran out, and he just took off and jumped the wing. And I think afterwards I asked Olaf Peterson how big it was, and it was 190 high, and it was 220 wide, and he had to find the standard, and he went straight. He cleared the. I mean, amazing jump, but I didn't mean to do that. He ran out, and as he went to run out left, I held him, and he just went straight over the wing. It was flagged. The whole 3 fences were flagged. You could pick one or the other. Yeah,
Oh,
it's my country.
interesting.
I see. I measure this. When I measure the tree in the back of the wind, you have a orange tree in the back of the wind. I have the picture. These have more than 3 meter wide, more than
Oh,
3 meter wide and 190 high. I never see a horse jumping something like this. And
he
don't
jumped
touch
it.
even one leaf of the tree, jumping every single year. And he's not.
Uh,
In that moment, what do you think? You have that feeling in other time in your life jumping the fence that big?
it was pretty. It was pretty amazing, I must admit. But funny enough, because in the individual, he had that fence down in the individual. It was going away from the gate and back rail off it. I think he didn't. I don't think he liked that fence very much, to be honest.
And jumping.
A ver, Nick, now going a little bit about your family and how involved they are with the horses too. So when Laura was here last time, wow, we have a lot of feedback. Leopoldo, can you put mute, please? Okay, sorry about that. So when Laura was here, and we had the pleasure of having her in the Tertulia, she mentioned that your son is, I don't know if one or are involved in steeplechase and racing horses, and you're also there helping them. So what is going on? So it's not only jumping, but it's also steeplechase and horse racing.
Yeah, my son's there in the steeplechasing business, and Daniel, the older one, he trains. He's a trainer, and Harry, the younger one, he's a jockey. He rides for his brother, and they're very successful. They have 150 horses in training at the
Oh
moment.
wow!
Yeah, and Dan is in the top. He's a top. He's in the top 3 trainers in the country, and Harry's in the top 3 jockeys. So they're doing really well for the last. Oh, they've been doing 6 or 7 seasons now.
And your experience in equestrian in show jumping, you have some inputs in their training and part of that success, or it's a completely different sport and nothing related one to another.
Well, it's. I mean, the jumping is obviously important for the steeplechasers, but yeah, I mean, I go when I'm at home. I go there every day to see what they're doing, training. But Dan's a very good trainer. I leave it all. He knows what he's doing. If ever they run into a difficulty with one, I'd probably say, "Dad, what do you think? What should we do with this, or how do we do this?" And then I will, give my opinion on what where they go. But they are very successful and they work really well together. And the farm is just it's on the same 100 meters, 200 meters away, the racing yard and
Oh,
the
okay.
jumpers.
So very convenient.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
excellent. Leo, Nick, we are close to the 1 hour mark, huh? So we have to start closing this. So I don't know if you have any last question. Carolo, as you can see, he's freeze down. He's not in. I mean, apparently he had some internet connection and he lost the connection. So
He's
that's
gone.
why he's not moving as much.
Not moving.
Nick,
So Leo,
to, uh, I want to say thank you for coming to the program, and it's an honor for us to having you here. And I admire you a lot of as a rider and as a horseman. And you are a lot of last question. You are a lot of nervous person, but you before the classes, I see you. You put out a lot of you feel a lot of pressure, but I see you and you always many people say you complain a lot, and I understand you, and I talk to you about, and we are friends and don't have never have a big problem of this, but you lose a little bit of your pressure when you complain and being there, and you're using this to lose a little bit your pressure when you come in to compete.
Yeah, you're probably right. You made me nervous. That was the trouble when I you're being nervous. So I blame you for that. No, but you're right. Yeah, I think you're probably right. I complain a lot. I still complain a lot. I still complain.
Fight for you or anything for this, but I understand you. I always thinking I want to asking you, but I think this is what I thinking. When you have
You're right.
nervous before this, you are a winner and you want to be a winner, and you start to do everything and you put a lot of pressure in yourself, and you
Yeah, I do.
using this to.
Well, that's the problem when you're pressuring yourself and you don't do it. So, and that's a very good thing. So I think that's probably a relief valve for me that yeah, I got it out of my system by complaining a lot.
Yeah, but it's very clear, Leopoldo, that you are the trigger. You are the one that makes Nick be like that. So
Oh yeah, it must be.
well, Nick, I want to personally thank you very much. I really enjoyed this hour. I learned a lot, and I want to again congratulate you for all your success. You're a great ambassador of our sport, not only in the ring but outside the ring. And like Leopoldo said, we would like to have more of your experience, your thoughts, your direction. What would you think the sport should do for the future? I think it's going to be very valuable information for us to have. So thank you again, Carolo. I'm sorry that you lost connection, but hopefully in the next program we have better internet. So Nick, I mean, what message can you send to all your fans, because you're very popular and everyone looks up to you? What would be your last message to them?
Well, I would just thank them very much for all the years of supporting me, and they definitely really helped me along the way to be successful. And if I had my time all over again, I'd do it all again. Thank you.
Super. Well, thank you very much, Nick. Please say hello to Laura and all your team. And thank you, cavalarium.com, Ecuestre Digital. Leopoldo, we'll see you next week. And Santiago Varela, please excuse him. He was in a working meeting. And thank you for everything. And please be careful. Thank you very much and enjoy your time. Bye bye.
Thank you.